It's Friday night, Overwatch fans, and we are live in Los Angeles as the 2019 Overwatch League season rolls on. Tonight, we've got 4 more exciting matches coming your way as the Los Angeles Gladiators will get things started against the London Spitfire. The Gladiators finished 4th in our overall standings last season, but are still trying to find their footing here in 2019. London is playing in their 5th match, and we've seen 2 different versions of this team so far. Not so great in week 1 and really strong in week 2. Which version of the 2018 champions is here today? We'll find out in just a bit. Welcome inside the Blizzard Arena. This is the Watchpoint pre-show sponsored by State Farm, and we are here to get you ready for the matches every day. I'm Puckett. We got the whole crew. You know them. We got Zoe. Give it up. We've got Bren. And the bearded hexagrams fresh off a haircut. Welcome back to the desk, Hex.
I just gotta look good for you guys.
We appreciate it.
Was Monty not available?
Huh? Already. That's Bren.
I watched you yesterday. I already hate you.
We love him. All right, another day, another awesome watch point definitely planned for you guys. Our insider, Emily Tang, spent a day at the Chengdu Hunter's house to get to know the team, including one hunter who is a big Taylor Swift fan. Plus, we'll introduce you to one of the most fun-loving teams in the league, the Toronto Defiant. And things haven't gone well for some teams and players so far. We'll decide whether it's time to give them some tough love. When the action gets going on stage, we'll see 2 of our 3 undefeated teams as the NYXL take on Toronto and the 3-0 Vancouver Titans play the Valiant. We'll also see the Shanghai Dragons coming off their first franchise victory last week as they take on Chengdu. We'll start the day, though, with the hometown Los Angeles Gladiators taking on the London Spitfire. Gladiators are looking to avenge the 2018 postseason loss to the Spitfire, but it's going to be tough knowing that the London Spitfire squad has only had 1 match to prep for this week. We've got a big debut, though, for the Gladiators as we expect a fresh face in the lineup. Hex, they got a new guy wearing purple. What can you tell me about Decay?
It's very likely going to be his debut today. He was one of the most sought-after free agents in the Overwatch League in the offseason. Rumors of very high numbers, but he's the best Zarya player to come out of Korean contenders coming into the league right now. Can also flex onto every single other DPS. The expectations are super high. He just turned 18. He's ready to play. 18 a birthday we're celebrating, not like 23, Bren. And I'm really excited to see what he can bring to this Gladiators team.
Yeah, and you know what, as you just mentioned, he is in fact going to be starting over Shore 4 today. And Shore 4, of course, he's a fantastic player. He is more flexible than any yoga instructor out there. We have been seeing this guy on so many different heroes. However, if we're looking at his Zarya stats, they're frankly a little bit underwhelming. So now if we're looking at the team overall, I think they're going to be very happy to have DK filling in as DK has been specializing on that Zarya role. And he has a pre-existing synergy with Roar. Their main tank hasn't been looking too stellar so far, so I very much hope that that gives him like a bit of a boost also, and we're going to see more synergy in that tank line.
I'm surprised that graphic didn't say surely bad. Let's keep this going.
I didn't request it today.
Looked great in week 2 after starting 0-2 in week 1. So what changed last week? Why is Spitfire back to their old ways?
Well, I mean, Puckett, to be honest, this is something that the Spitfire have had an issue for quite some time. It's inconsistency. And I've got a stat here that shows you exactly what I've got B-roll first that you're going to be able to see. And there's the statistic. Look at the difference here between week 1 and week 2. This is their team fight win percentage, how often they win team fights in their matches. Week 1, they were abysmal, below 50%, not ideal. Week 2, absolutely dominating. So they managed to turn it around. And realistically, I mean, does this mean that the London are now going to be dominating from now on? I don't think so. I think this is a real issue that they need to start tackling now, is where they need to, find out what the issue is, where they cannot put up consistent results. Because we saw this last year. They just managed to squeak into the playoffs, and then they ended up winning the entirety of the 2018 season. So, can I put too much pressure on them? I'm not too sure, but I do want to see them fix it.
We'll get your official prediction a little bit later in the show. For now, the Gladiators share the hometown city of Los Angeles with another squad, the Valiant, and that other LA team desperately needs a win. The 0-3 Valiant may have a tough time getting it today, though, as they'll face an undefeated Vancouver Titans squad that has quickly earned a reputation as one of the league's most coordinated. We've talked about how this squad is made up of former Korean contenders champs, Runaway Hex, but tell me, what is Vancouver doing specifically to cause so many problems for the other teams in this league?
I mean, I really think it just comes down to their coordination and the aggression that they play. I mean, Bumper is super aggressive on Tank, and if he was on another team, he'd be dead all the time, but they know how to play around this. You counteract that with a team like the Spark, who is a mixture of two contenders teams, and they don't have the same synergy, they don't have the same coordination. It looks like these guys just have a plan, know exactly what to do at all times. It's almost robotic in its chaos, but it's beautiful to watch, and it's simply a matter of coordination.
Yeah, they are definitely becoming, I think, my favorite team to watch. And in particular, you mentioned Bumper is the man who I'm looking at, because he's not only is he, you know, Wolf's son, but he is just an absolute madman.
And my
Look
spirit
at this.
animal.
He pulls out these maneuvers. He hides around the corner. This is something that I do in my diamond games, but he does it on the Overwatch League stage.
Nevix, get out of here!
He just doesn't care. He plays so aggressive. It's like he left his brain at home, but it doesn't matter anyway. His team support him. And here's a crazy statistic for you. When Bumper gets the first kill in these team fights, they have never lost so far in the Overwatch League. If Bumper gets the first kill, they don't lose the fight. They haven't lost it yet.
Wow.
So this is the high-risk, high-reward play style, and it pays off big time for the Vancouver Titans.
Keep your eyes on the Titans main tank. Vancouver is 3-0. The Valiant are 0-3, but Vancouver hasn't won every single one of their games. So is there anything the Valiant can go look at in the tape and take advantage of today in their matchup?
Pocket, I'm not sure they will find something to really take advantage of. However, something which did stand out of the Titans' previous matches was that they looked very ill-prepared against the Charge. Rightfully so, they did have 2 matches back-to-back. They went up against the Charge, right followed the next morning by the Shock, and they had a clear game plan going against the Shock. However, against the Charge, they looked scrappy. It was a brawl. Like, there was no tactic involved in that fight, or any of the fights in that matchup whatsoever. So I guess the only thing Valiant can do is hope that they flew under the radar, and maybe Titans haven't prepared too well for them.
I think Valiant's got to hope for a Game 5 going their way. Vancouver is one of 2 Overwatch League teams representing Canada. The other Canadian team is the tight-knit bunch from Toronto. We'll show you what brought this Defiant team so close together in just a bit. This is Watchpoint. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
It's one of our newest teams, the Toronto Defiant.
We are Toronto Defiant. 토론토 디파이언트는 재밌기도 하고 서로 간의 끈끈함을 잘 맺어주는.
달렸을 때는 이제 외국인과 한국인이 있어서 형동생이라는 게 좀 없었거든요. 문화가 다르니까. 근데 이제 한국에서는 좀 이제 아무래도 동생들도 많고 보는 눈도 많으니까 좀 잘해야겠다 이런 생각.
MB 형이랑 네코가 제일 잘하는 선수 같아요. MB 형은 이제 플레이 도중에 생각하는 게 너무 뛰어나가지고 중간중간마다 변형하는 식으로 플레이를 많이 하셔서
Trying to stay alive, but Envy gets a double kill.
팀에서 제일 잘하는 선수는 던 것 같아요. 장난이고요. 시리즈 이제 제일 잘하는 선수는 약풍이 그냥 하락한 걸 본 적이 없어요. 실력이 떨어지거나 이런 거.
Popped up the shadow from Yakpung, quite big. They managed to find 2 kills.
오버워치 리그는 다국적 사람들이 많이 보니까 여기 팀을 들어가면 진짜 엄청 열심히 해야겠다 이 생각을 하고 들어갔었어요.
저희 팀을 한 단어로 이제 표현하자면 멍청이들. 그래서 아마 보시면 좀 챙겨주고 싶은 느낌이 좀 들 수도 있어서 응원하지 않을까 싶습니다.
That's a great look at who the Defiant are as a team, and we'll get a good indicator of how talented this team is later today. They face off against the mighty NYXL. New York is the only 4-0 team in the league right now, and they haven't shown many weaknesses so far. So Hex, who can Toronto look at if they're going to hang with our first place squad?
Well, Toronto's done a really good job of staying 2-1 without some of their best players right now. It's called keeping your head above water and giving yourself a chance at the stage playoffs. But Neko is finally going to rejoin this team. And in this meta right now, your Zenyatta player is so important. Neko, of course, formerly of the Boston Uprising, going to make his debut today for Toronto. And you saw the respect that they have for him on this team. They think he's one of the best players. And now you get to see Toronto's final form.
The NYXL have statistical league leaders up and down this stacked lineup, but what has you most impressed about the XL right now, Bren?
For me, it's the tank play bucket. I'm really focusing hard on that. Mano and Meko, these guys, they set themselves up so brilliantly. You notice Mano when he's playing Reinhardt, a lot of Reinhardt players will use their Earth Shatters to try and initiate fights or win a team fight overall, but he saves it and he utilizes it so that they can really secure these team fights. Where he uses it to make sure that the Graviton, the bomb combo, the Saltatrons going off, they all collect kills, which is why he has one of the best efficiencies when it comes to getting kills off the back of those Saltastrokes. This is something that New York do really well, and it's always a pleasure to watch them play because they're so precise and so surgical when they play Overwatch.
Yeah, as he just mentioned, like Meko gets set up for all those big plays we just saw in the highlights. However, if we're looking at the Diva statistics of Envy from Toronto and Meko, they're actually not that far apart. I actually think that Envy is doing incredible well. He is tied for third on alts negated league-wide at the moment. And if we consider that Meko has this huge like team support basically in the back of his, who allows him to have those big numbers and always come top 3 in every single metric when we're looking at statistics, it's actually really surprising that Envy matches up so well and even looks better in some of the metrics if we compare him to someone who has a support team in the back. And that's just based on pure individual skills there. So I'm very impressed with Envy, and I can't wait to see that matchup today.
Both players play Sombra as well. I sure hope to see her later on tonight. From a New York team that has mostly wins since joining the league to a team that took 43 matches to get their first one. Let's talk about the Shanghai Dragons. They're trying to ride the momentum from last week's victory over the Boston Uprising. The Dragons will go for their second win tonight against the Chengdu Hunters. At 2-1, the Hunters have a style all to their own. So, Bren, how are the Hunters finding success so far?
Well, it's easy to focus on Amon as well as a player and his Wrecking Ball play style, but I think the team as a whole is what we need to be looking at, the bigger picture, because their team work and their team cohesion is actually fantastic for this squad, for this Chinese-speaking squad. The fact that I think they can communicate in Mandarin helps them out tremendously as well in terms of that. It's a language that, when I've spoke to a lot of Chinese players, they've said that calling is much more quicker and precise when they're calling in that language in particular. I think this really helps out Chengdu and gives them an edge over some of these teams when it comes to the sort of peeling and the protecting the teammates aspect of Overwatch.
It's also a team you simply can't practice for. I've talked to a lot of the other teams, and they're like, we're not going to waste time practicing against Chengdu. We got to play 3-3 against each other. But that's why I love Chengdu. This hero usage is completely different than the rest of the league. They play Zarya less than half of the rest of the league does at 80 to 44%. They'll run absolutely anything.
It's madness.
Every time I get my schedule for the week, I scan it to see if I get Chengdu. I love casting Chengdu. I love watching Chengdu. It's like just this crazy brand of Overwatch, and I think it's really good for the league, but they're sneaking out wins because no one really knows how to play against this.
So if Shanghai wants to keep the winning ways going right now, what's their best plan of attack against Chengdu today?
Yeah, we actually have a few tips for the Dragons so they don't fall prey to the Hunters. So let me take you on a quick safari.
That's a great hat.
I know, right? I wear it every now and then. First things first, you have to get your hacks and your stunts ready because there's going to be a lot of hamsters out there. Secondly, seek shelter. Keep your snipers ready because on every single map we're going to see today, be that Busan, Numbani, Volskaya, Dorado, Ilios, if you're playing against the Hunters, there's always a chance of justice raining from above. And last, but this is the most important point, don't go off-road. Stick to your guns, stay on the road. Don't let the hunters drag you out there and play their crazy, weird, I'm not even sure what to call it, but don't go there. Stay on the road, and you should be fine.
If you see a hamster, don't bring out your own hamster. It's not good
Exactly,
plan.
that's not the play.
I like it. Well, Chengdu is definitely unorthodox in their match play, but what are they like outside of the game? Our insider Emily Tang spent a day at the Hunter's house to find out. That's next on the Watchpoint Preshow, presented by State Farm.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
As you just saw, the Chengdu Hunters celebrated their star DPS Bacon Jack's 21st birthday earlier this week. And while they may not have the strongest musical skills, they've already created a strong family bond within the team. We recently visited the Hunters team house to learn more about one of the most exciting expansion teams in the Overwatch League. Check it out.
Hey everyone, it's Emily, and today is the Chinese Lantern Festival. And I'm at the Chengdu Hunters team house, and we're gonna get to know one of the newest Chinese expansion teams of the Overwatch League.
这是我们训练的地方，然后我每天训练10个小时以上。
I'm sitting here with Jinmu,
Hello.
Kyo,
Hello.
Late Young,
Hi.
and Elsa.
Hello.
You guys are gonna be here until September, so what is one thing that you guys want to achieve before the season is over?
进入季后赛吧，准备去游乐园玩之类的，看泰勒·斯威夫特的演唱会。
And China will be in the gold medal match.
看到中国队在世界杯赢了银牌，对你们来说是一种鼓励吧？
是战败于韩国，可能会更加激励我的那个好胜心，所以更想战败他们。
I can't stress enough just how underrated the region is in general.
第一次登上 OWL 舞台的紧张感，
就感觉很兴奋，马上就可以跟很多强队就过招。
Here we have some traditional Chinese rice balls. It's a custom of ours to eat these during the Lantern Festival. In Chinese, these are called tangyuan, and it sounds a lot like tuanyuan, which is the word for getting the family together. What's it like to live in close quarters with your teammates?
可能就是有那种家的感觉，在这里相处久了。
Now, Puckett, as you have all discussed, the Hunters have started the season with an unorthodox playstyle. After speaking with the team, they believe this different style can set them apart and gives them a legitimate chance at making this year's playoff. All right, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you so much, Emily. We'll talk a lot about amongst Wrecking Ball as this game goes on, but another statistical standout on the team so far has been Jinmu. His FAR is in top 5 in most category, and he's played the most FAR in the league so far. Zoe, you talked about a chance of justice showers in the match today against the Dragons. So, how fun is this team to watch right now? Do you expect a lot of FAR?
I expect everything. If you're playing the Hunters, they're like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get. I'm so proud that I actually thought of that right now. But no, seriously, like it's just everything can happen if you play against the Hunters. And I think their ability to, usually I would say, I would call it like playing up or down to a team, like for the other teams, but you're not playing up or down to the Hunters. They manage to force you playing their game, whatever that might be that up or down, I don't know, but it is the Hunters game. And that's what makes it so exciting.
I think if the Hunters win today, we should get Elsa some tickets to go see Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Let's get that crowdsourced tonight, guys. Make it happen in the chat. Now, even though we're experts here on Watchpoint and we give great advice on how the teams can find success, sometimes they simply don't listen to us and underperform. So, we're going to decide whether it's time to bash these teams or give them credit or give credit to someone else for their poor play. First up, the Seoul Dynasty lost to the Boston Uprising on Thursday, and Boston was fresh off being the only team ever to lose to the Shanghai Dragons. Hex, are you bashing the Dynasty or giving credit to the Uprising?
It's way too easy to bash the Dynasty, and social media does that for me. So I'm going to give credit to the Boston Uprising here, and especially Aim God. He may be an Aim God, but right now he is the hide-and-go-seek champion. He's able to get away from the Sombra play on this Zenyatta, and it crushed team fights for him several times. He also did it in week 1 against New York. So many times able to avoid the Sombra, get Transcendence out, and win the Sombra versus Zenyatta duel. That's amazing. All the credit to Aim God in Boston.
Such a sneaky beaver. The Los Angeles Valiant are 0-3 and one of 2 winless teams in the league. So, Zoe, are you bashing the Valiant or giving credit to the teams that beat them so far?
I have to bash them. I'm so sorry. I have to bash them. The Valiant are a shadow of their former self. They do not look like the Valiant we've seen last stage, and that's tragic. It honestly is tragic. I looked at the schedule and was like, maybe it's the strength of schedule which isn't playing in their favor. And yeah, frankly, they had to go up against New York as their first match. But then they went up against the Spark. It was the good Spark, you know, there was a bad Spark and a good Spark. It was the good Spark, yeah, it was rough. But then they also lost against Toronto. Now I'm just like kind of questioning everything. However, as much as I want to bash the Valiant, I do want to up Isayaki. You're doing great. Don't change. Don't listen to the haters.
1 of 6, looking good there, guys. All right, the big match between the San Francisco Shock and the Hangzhou Spark went down, and it went in the Shock's favor last night. Bren, are you bashing the 3rd straight loss for the Spark here in week 2 and 3, or giving credit to the Shock?
So I'm actually going to choose neither of those choices and instead bash the Shock.
Wasn't an option, but I like it.
Yeah, I'm going to bash the Shock instead because I think the first 2 maps that they played against the Hangzhou Spark was probably some of the worst Overwatch they've played in quite some time. They are better than this. The reason I'm so hard on this squad is because I do love to watch them play. I think they play a very fun style of Overwatch. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. And to see them underperform in that match was honestly so disappointing and so heartbreaking. So I do need to call them out on this. They are way better than that. When they played against the Vancouver Titans, they played phenomenal Overwatch despite the scoreline showing otherwise. They are a fantastic team, and they did not, give themselves. They just didn't play well, Puckett, man.
Didn't play up to their
They just didn't
potential.
play well.
I see where you're going with that one, Brent.
Thank you.
I'm sad, sadly. Well, the Washington Justice fell to the Philadelphia Fusion on Thursday, which brings them now to 0-3, excuse me. You know, actually, I'm just going to take this whole segment, guys. I'm going to go ahead and bash the Justice. You won your first game against the Fusion. You punished the monkey. You look so good, but you can't close out the games. The grabs were everywhere for Corey. You weren't mopping up the team fights. You need to have cleaner play if you're looking for wins. With such a tough schedule, you needed to win yesterday if you're the Washington Justice.
A lot of bashing on this desk, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, again, I'm the most positive one up here, which is so odd.
Is that it?
We've been
That's
hanging
the
out with
second time,
Mafia Hacks
actually.
way too much, guys. One person who has collected a ton of credit over the past year is London's Prophet. The 2018 Grand Finals MVP will be taking the stage moments from now. This is the Watchpoint Pre-Show presented by State Farm. Blizzard Arena, make some noise. There's a look at your Gladiators taking the stage in front of the hometown crowd here in LA. They're looking for their second victory. On the other side of the stage, it's the 5th match for the Spitfire, who are perfect in week 2. Can they keep it going in week 3? We're about to find out. Before we get out of here tonight, it's time for the prediction. Zoe and Hex like London over the Gladiators, but Brent has Los Angeles. All 3 analysts are taking New York and Vancouver to stay undefeated, but Zoe and Bren are riding the Shanghai train while Hex loves Chengdu. Zoe versus Hex is 30 seconds for a face-off.
All right, Hex. Let me tell you that. A-Man can roll around in a hamster all he wants. He's not going to see any light against Ding on that Sombra. She's going to hack him, and he will be an absolute non-factor. On top of that, also, Jin, well, yeah, you go ahead and play that, Farah. Diem is just going to snipe you out of the air like that. There's absolutely nothing the Hunters can throw at the Dragons, which they can't be dealing with.
I'm not picking with my brain. I'm picking with my heart. Shanghai got to win. Fine. All good. I need Chengdu to win. The world needs Chengdu to win. Overwatch League needs Chengdu to win. Otherwise, we're going to watch 3-3 the rest of the season, guys. Come on. Let's this unorthodox style work.
Prediction, do we see Decay today?
I'm going with Zoe because she bet. Oh, I just hit you in the hand.
It's fine.
We're going to see Decay. That's it for Watchpoint. Enjoy the games. We'll see you later.